Hello. In this video, I want to talk about something slightly different. You may be able to guess that I grew up as a deaf person. And I want to look at employment and how important it is to me, just for life, just for continuing through life. When I was a little boy, I was always a real passionate traveler. I'd never get bored when we traveled. And even now, I love to travel, which is different now, obviously, because of COVID, but I still am passionate about traveling. And my dream job when I was young was to become a pilot. I used to love the idea of becoming a pilot. But then I got slightly older and I had that realization that I wouldn't be able to become a pilot. Not because I couldn't do it, but because of the airlines and the policies that these airlines have, they wouldn't allow a deaf person to become a pilot. And that would go for a number of people who have disabilities, where they've got mobility issues, whatever that might be. And so I was gutted, to be honest. It became a barrier for me because, like I said earlier, that was my dream job, but I had to carry on working, and I would have done it. I would have become a pilot if I could have. But you just realize that these are just barriers that we face as deaf people. And so we might be disappointed about those things, but we have to accept that there is guidance around that. So it's led me to different areas of work. Now, at the time when I was young, I actually thought about becoming a professional football player. But again, encountered a barrier. Because I was deaf, they wouldn't let me play in a Premier team. I remember when I was younger, I actually went for a tryout with a professional team. And they said, "We're really sorry, we can't accept you into our team because you're deaf." I was a goalkeeper when I was younger. I remember being young and saying to them, "Look, as a deaf person, I could be a goalkeeper in a professional team. It's because it's visual." And they came up with all these excuses as to why I couldn't do that. And I was gutted. I trained so hard and I sacrificed my time for the game. But again, it became another barrier. And so I ended up diverting my attention to an amateur team, and I was part of different teams that I was able to play for. But what's interesting is the professional teams now, even now, won't allow a deaf person to play for them. It's interesting, isn't it? There are still those barriers out there, depending on what area of work that is, but they still do exist. When I realised I couldn't be a pilot, I thought maybe I could pilot a ship. But even that, I wasn't allowed to do. Again, just gutted. And even, could I drive a train? No, I couldn't drive a train. Not because I couldn't, but because they wouldn't allow me. And so when I was able to become a driver, just delivering parcels, I jumped on it because I love traveling. I love getting out and about. And so I suppose it's finding ways around that. And I believe you can actually pilot small planes. If it was just you and another passenger, say that you can actually get a license as a deaf person to fly smaller planes, but you aren't as a deaf person allowed to fly commercial flights. But you can see what we face, and it isn't about challenging being stopped, but it's about finding ways around that, which isn't easy. So I'm hoping, from today's clip, you just get a further insight into what it's like to be deaf. And that's not just for me, but for many other deaf people who I'm sure have got dream jobs that they are prevented from doing just because they're deaf. And so it isn't our deafness that stops us, it's society that stops us. But we move on, we press in, and we stay positive. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Bye bye.